Hi, I'm Larry Richardson, your step-by-step chef. In this episode, we're going to make a delicious sandwich. It's one of my all-time favorites. It is a chicken avocado BLT. It's real easy to make, but it doesn't look like it. It's just that cool. So come on, let's cook. And here are the ingredients we need for our chicken avocado BLT. First of all, I have toasted these pieces of wheat bread. This is going to be enough ingredients to make 2 sandwiches. So these are pre-toasted, and I'm not going to show you how to toast because everybody's toaster is a little bit different, but this is what you're shooting for. And I use wheat bread, but you can certainly use any kind of white bread you want. Although if you do, make sure it's a hearty bread. Make sure it's like a hearty white farm bread, farmhouse bread, or something like that. But I find that these ingredients stand up really well to this wheat bread. I have 6 pieces of crispy bacon, and I will show you how to make that using my method, the way I love to make bacon. And that in itself is a little bit controversial. Everyone has their own way of making bacon, and it's usually sacred to them. And I'll just show you how to make it my way so that you end up with flat, crispy pieces of bacon that sit very well in a sandwich. The next thing we're going to use is about 2 to 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise, which of course we will spread on the bread, and that's perfectly to taste. It's totally up to you how much mayo you want to use. I have a 1/4 cup of chopped red onion. I have 3 Campari tomatoes. Whatever tomato you can get, just use that. As long as it covers this surface, that's what we're shooting for. I have a 1/4 of an iceberg lettuce, and we will give that a little bit of a trimming. And I have this 1 pound of chicken, which I will show you how I prepare that for this dish. And let me show you how to put this all together. Okay, so I've had this deep skillet preheating over medium for about 5 minutes. Now to make sure that it's ready for the bacon, I want to throw some water in it. You can see how the water, it's beating up and it's running. See how it's rolling around like little balls? That means it is ready for my bacon. Now some people I know, they'll throw an entire package of bacon in right into the pan and think nothing of it. And they don't mind having, curly and odd-shaped pieces of bacon. And quite frankly, sometimes I do it because I'm in a hurry, and I don't really care. I just want to eat some bacon. But for the true bacon aficionados, what they typically do is just take individual pieces and lay it out in their pan. So you can hear that nice and sizzly. This is a great pan for making bacon in. It's a non-stick pan, and it heats up really well from the bottom. So if you like your bacon flat, just put like 4 pieces in and array them out flat. So you can see this is getting rolling right away. Now if your stove runs really hot and you're a little concerned that it's just getting way too smoky, turn the heat down. I actually, with this pan, had to turn it down to just below medium because I was just getting way too much smoke. So don't be afraid to adjust that pan. And then you just tend to it. And you can see this piece is looking nice and browned. So I'm flipping that over. And I'm using a non-stick pan. Some people swear by cast iron pans. Some people will make it in the oven. They just lay it out flat and they broil it. There are just so many different ways to make bacon. But the end result is, at least for most people, is a nice flat piece, that you can put next to your eggs, next to a pile of pancakes, maybe in a BLT. But I just wanted to show you in this step-by-step chef quick hit how I make bacon, because some people do find it intimidating. So you can see I'm ending up with nice flat pieces of bacon. And if you had thrown the entire pound of bacon into this pan and kind of, you know, mushed it around, you end up with very odd-shaped pieces of bacon. And like I said before, I'm okay with that. That's totally up to you. But I do find that this gives a nice consistency. Now, you can see that these pieces are getting a little bit smaller. They opened up a space. And just to keep things moving along, I'm going to add another piece of bacon. I mean, my mouth is watering. Oh. So I'm just laying that one piece down. And I'm just going to kind of do a conveyor, a continuous conveyor of bacon heading that way. Just grab it out. I have a pan, not a pan, I have a plate sitting here that has paper towels on it. You know, like it's about 2-3 levels of paper towels. And that way I can strain off the grease as each piece is done. Now this thinner middle piece, to my taste, is done. You don't see any of this white fat in it. So it's done. I don't want to burn it. You know, I don't want to scorch it. So here you go. And I'm just putting it on my plate with the paper towels just to get some of that grease off of it. And that's a good piece of bacon. And let's take a look at this one. There's a little bit of the fat still there, but you know, it's looking pretty good. And I think that will be a crispy piece of bacon. Yum. So I'm going to take that one out. And let's move these two up. Let's see how this one's doing. Oh, that piece is very nicely browned and crispy. That one's coming out. Now, I don't know about you, but I've actually known people who would cook their bacon and they liked it almost raw. They would like it just a little bit browned compared to this. They would eat it like this. Now, bacon is a matter of taste. I can't criticize them. That's what they liked. They liked it with a little bit of the fat still on it, a little chewy. So everyone has a different taste. I mean, just ask 3 people today how they like to make bacon, and you are going to get 3 different answers. Okay, so our final pieces of bacon, of our pound of bacon, are just about done. Now, here's what I want you to do. We're going to take the remaining pieces of bacon out and put them on our plate with the paper towels to drain them. I want you to pour this grease into a can and be very, very careful. I do not want to hear that you got burned. So we're going to pour this grease into a can, and then what I want you to do is leave that residue in the pan because we're going to cook our chicken breast in that for our chicken avocado BLT. And I'll show you all of that in a moment. And here's our chicken breast. And what I want to do is trim off the fat and any of the chewy parts. You don't want those in any dish. Just clean it up a little bit. And they do make pre-trimmed chicken, and maybe you want to buy that. But just make sure you get the fat off. You don't want it to be chewy. And then what I do is I just cut it in half. And then what I'm going to do is just fillet it. I'm cutting it lengthwise, and be real careful when you do this. You don't want to fillet your fingers. Lengthwise, so I have nice flat pieces of chicken. And that is sandwich style chicken. Okay, so that piece is filleted, and then I'm just going to take this piece and do the exact same thing. And there is filet-o chicken. And now I'm going to meet you over at the stove. Okay, so I asked you when we were making the bacon to keep some of that grease and residue in the pan because it will add flavor to the chicken when we brown it. So I have preheated this pan on medium for about 5 minutes. And now here comes our chicken. And we want to make sure that our chicken is cooked all the way through. And these are pretty thin pieces, so that should not be hard to do. So let's get that bacony goodness onto these pieces of chicken. So after about 3 minutes, I'm turning these over, You can see they're browning nicely, and they're really picking up that bacony flavor that really adds to this sandwich. And after another 5 minutes, I know this chicken is done. The juices are running clear on the top, but you know, just to be certain, and you can see actually it's quite browned on both sides, just to be certain, take the thickest piece that you have and cut it in half. If you see any pink in the middle of this, and I mean any pink at all, then you need to put this back in the pan for a little bit longer. Everybody's stove is different. This is what my stove does, and sometimes it can go actually absolutely crazy on these different dishes that I try to cook. But it came out nice and even. I will cut a piece in half, make sure it's clear and clear of pink, and then it is ready. So here is the sandwich board where the sandwich magic happens. So I'm taking some of our mayo, just giving a nice coating on the bottom of both sandwiches. And again, this is to taste. If you like it really mayonnaise-y, then go for it. Okay, nice and mayonnaise-y. Next up is a sprinkle of our red onion. And I just love red onion. It can be sweet with a little bit of heat. It's just so delicious. If you can't get red onion, use whatever you can. But this just gives it kind of a flair, just a flavor flair. And I think you're going to like it. And there we go. Next up is our chicken. Now, the chicken did cook through, and I have some delicious thin pieces of chicken. There we go. Another delicious piece. Next up is my lettuce. So I'm just going to slice this just into these little bands. And just put some of that on top of the chicken. It doesn't have to be too thick because we do have some other ingredients that need to go on these sandwiches. Now comes our tomato, and I'm just going to slice these nice and thin. And we'll throw that on top. This is a good sandwich. And there we go. And here's another one of our Campari tomatoes. Now you might not need all 3 of the tomatoes that I said in the beginning. I'm finding that these are larger than I anticipated. And about 3 pieces is right. Make sure you cut that core off. There we go. Oops. And here comes our avocado. I love avocado. And this is a nice, soft, ripe avocado. When you go to the store to pick avocado, spend a little bit of time, give the avocados a squeeze, make sure that the consistency is soft with a slight firmness, and you will not end up with a rotten avocado. But if it's real squishy, don't get it. So I'm just taking the peel, I'm peeling the avocado, then taking the nut out. And then I'm just going to put it into little pieces. Make sure that you don't end up with a stemmy piece from the avocado in your sandwich. That's very disappointing to people. You can also take this and mush it up if you want and spread it onto the bread. But I like good chunky avocado in this dish. So let's just put pieces of avocado right on top. And trust me, none of this avocado will go to waste. Becomes a little bit of a balancing act, but I think we can do it. And I like to chop up the avocado a little bit because I've had these sandwiches before and ended up with a whole mouthful of avocado and nothing else. If you chop it, it gives a little bit better. And that's our avocado. And now we'll move on to our bacon. And I love my crosshatch. And then straight across. And I'm just slathering the roof of the sandwich with some more mayo. And press it down. Oh, really give it a good press. Because there's so many ingredients in this, if you don't, they are going to fall out of the sandwich when you, your friends, your family, your partner, whoever tries to take a bite. And that's another thing that has happened to me. I can't believe that sometimes restaurants make sandwiches so thick that you literally can't get your mouth around it. Press it down. Nice. And press down. And there is your chicken avocado bacon sandwich, your BLT. And the last thing I really recommend, because this is kind of a bit of a chunky sandwich, is give it a little bit of a diagonal cut. And that way, when you put your mouth around it, everything's not going to end up in your lap. I'm drooling. It's official. So congratulations, look at what you just did. You just made this delicious chicken avocado BLT, and it is yummy. If you serve this on a Saturday or a Sunday at brunch, you will be the hero in the house. It is that good. So please take a look at my website, stepbystepchef.com. There you're going to find a printable version of this recipe, along with other recipes and links to more of my videos for just countless delicious meals. So again, my name is Larry Richardson. I am your step-by-step chef, and I'll see you in the next episode.